You guessed it, I'm back at Into Motor in Warrington, and I've got another bike to show you, so let's just cut to it. So here we have Husqvarna Svartpilen. It's the 125 version. Now, if you've seen the channel before, you would know that I really liked the 801 Svartpilen. Absolutely amazing bike, just awesome to ride, loads of fun. Then I went on the 401 and things went horribly wrong and it broke down on me. They are based on the KTM Duke. They use the same engine as the KTM. They use loads of similar parts. But I've always thought the Huskies look nicer. But let me know in the comments what you think. Let's have a look round. There's your close-up. So we'll do a full 360 round the bike just so you can get an idea on the looks. But I do really like the look of them. I think they're quite a futuristic, different design to the KTM Duke. This just looks a little bit more beefy. The tyres look like they're built for some, like a scrambler type. Not an out and out off-roader, but that kind of scrambler vibe, scrambler look to it. The light, so much better than KTM's. I don't like that big triangle thing they have for a light at the front. That just looks a lot classier. Quite comfortable. Seat's really nice actually on this. Really comfortable seating position. The seat height is 820 millimeters, so it's not a short bike. I can't quite flat foot both sides. I'm 5'8" with a 29-inch inseam, and I can't flat foot it, so you can gauge that with your own height and leg length. But what I do like, it feels nice and light. It's 151 kilograms, this bike, so as far as moving it, even on tiptoes going uphill, which is what I'm doing now, it's actually quite easy to move around. It's not much heavier than a little scooter, so that's good. Nice and easy to move around, so if you're looking for a downsized bike, it's quite good on the weight. So the exhaust has still got Husqvarna wrote on it, so looks like it's a standard exhaust. It's not been upgraded or changed to anything else. There's the 125cc engine. Now this does have 15 horsepower, so it's right on the limit what you can do for a 125, so may well have to do a performance test, see how it compares to the likes of the MT125 from Yamaha and the current fastest I've been on, the Vosges R125. Nice spoked wheels as well, just to add to that scrambler look. Single shock on the back, so just sitting on it's comfortable. We'll see how it handles the bumps when I take it for a spin. It has got a chain drive. There is rear pegs for a passenger, but there is no grab handles should you want to take anybody on the back. Standard buttons really, you've just got the basics that you'd have on any other. Horn, indicators, high low beam, and then we've got a flash around the other side. Right hand side, again, just the standard. You've got your engine start, engine cut off. So nice little LCD screen, loads of information on there considering we've just got this small circle. You've got a gear indicator, you've got your speedo there, but it's big enough, it's clear enough. You've got a clock, we've got fuel gauge, and there's a rev counter going around the outside, which is good. Then you've got your warning lights hidden under there. Now this is a used example, but as you can see from the walk round, it's a really tidy used example as well. Now these bikes come in brand new. On the road you'd be talking over £5,000. This one is up for sale at £3,099, so pretty much £2,000 off the new bike price. But it is a used bike, and let me just see how many miles we've got on, because I forgot to point that out when we were having a little look. So it's got 2,771 miles on the clock. There's only one thing left to do, and it's the best bit. I'm going to go and put my helmet on, get my gloves on, let's go for a ride. So chips have arrived. It's chippy day at Intermoto. This has got 15 horsepower, so I do want to see how it compares against the better performing bikes. So the Yamaha MT125, the Vosges R125, I've done the same performance test, and I'll do exactly the same on this to see how it compares. Is it going to be better, worse, similar? We'll find out, but let's go. It's a lovely day for it, again, nice and sunny. Now, you know I've had issues with Svartpilens in the past. Only one. Let's hope this isn't another one. This looks mint, to be fair. Looking round it, it is really nice and tidy. I think this bike is like 3 years old. So for a 3-year-old bike to wear so well, yeah, it's a testament to it. I can't see any rust, corrosion or anything like that. So that's always a good start. But the bike itself looks mint. So let's go riding. Let's see what it handles like. I have noticed something instantly from getting on. It's not a deal breaker, but these bar end mirrors, just where they are, you've not got a lot of room for your hand with the mirror there. I can still get the levers all right. I can still do all that. If that's the worst thing about this bike, then we're all right, aren't we? It's got a nice little rumble for a standard exhaust, and I've got to say, now some bikes straight away they might feel a little bit hard in the seat, or you might feel a bit uncomfortable, and you can feel that straight away. I just feel at home on this bike straight off the bat. It is quite I won't say a very sporty position, I'd say a little bit. Oh, look at this, right, hang on. This has got to be done actually. Tight of me, I know, but you know, stopping in the middle of the road. Look at this, I feel like, yay, you know, look after the pennies. I'd put a link in my description for something called Buy Me a Coffee. Now, I know a lot of people have these Patreon sites, and they use Patreon because it's a way of joining and helping people's channels, and it really, really does. I've got to say that, because these channels, they aren't cheap. Now, just to give you an example, when I started my channel off, I had to go out and I bought a GoPro, I bought microphones, I bought all these different bits and bobs, and it cost me, I don't know, I didn't go for the best stuff. It was like £500, say, to get it all set up so I could just start making videos. But then you have issues with microphones, and you realise that buying a cheap microphone wasn't a good idea, so you get a slightly better one. Then you have a problem with that one, and then you realise that you still can't cheap out, so you have to go out and buy another one. Then you look at other cameras that are out there, and you realise that you have to buy a new camera because the footage you're getting just isn't quite good enough, and it's just, you need to make it better. So then you go out and buy a new camera. So you by this stage of trial and error, buying different things, you've then spent a couple of £1,000. And when you've got a small channel, you don't earn thousands of pounds every month. If you're lucky, you might get a couple of £100, and that is the truth of it. The fact is, you don't make any money off these videos at my level. Once you get into the I've got 100,000 subscribers, then yeah, you're gonna make money. You could probably make a full-time living out of it. Oh, cat in the road. But you need to have lots and lots and lots of subscribers to do it. So when you're at my level, it is a very, very expensive thing to actually start up and continuous buying equipment, because it's trial and error with some things that work and some that don't, and some that makes it look better and some that doesn't, and all of that. So I get why people have Patreon because of that reason. Now, if you've got a massive channel and you've got a Patreon, then yeah, you're gonna be earning some decent money at that stage, and you're paying for Patreon to get early access to videos and all that stuff. But if you're again at my level, I try and get my videos out quite quickly, considering and therefore doing a Patreon just doesn't really cut it for me, because I wouldn't be able to offer anything special. I'd just basically be asking for money for you to get nothing in return, which I'm not really a fan of doing. I'm not. I couldn't do it. It's not doable. However, I have signed up to something called Buy Me a Coffee. So Buy Me a Coffee is basically just that. It's like you can buy me a coffee if you're happy with the content that I'm putting out. It's kind of just like a little tipping service, I'll be honest. That's what it is. It's something that just contributes towards the channel, because that's what it does. Any money that I get in from my YouTube or from Buy Me a Coffee, it just goes directly back to making more videos, because as I've said, I'm constantly buying new equipment. I need more now. This camera, you hear wind noise, and it's just because the media mod, which costs quite a lot of money, when you're forking out £500–600 for a camera and the microphone jack doesn't work, it's quite frustrating. This is where I tend to do my performance test. So it's a national speed limit road, not far from Moto, but it's quite a good one, because I've had a couple of bikes on this straight, and when I take the bike down here, I can gauge how good the performance is based on the speed I'm at by the time I get to certain points. So for instance, there's a tree about 3/4 of the way down this straight bit. I'll say straight bit, it's like a slight bend, but it's straight enough for me to give it the beans. But by the time you get to this tree on the left hand side, I've never had a 125cc that has reached 60 mile an hour, but I have had a 200cc do it, and I've had countless other bikes of like around that 200 to 300 that get to 60 easily by them, but I've never had a 125 do it. The closest I've got to it was on the Vosges R125, which just before the bend at the end of there got to 58 miles per hour. It beat the Yamaha MT125 by 1 mile an hour. So very close, but you know, the Vosges takes it. So I'm going to see if this is any better. Now the Vosges and the Yamaha are both down as 14.7 horsepower, I believe. This is down as 15. So if that 0.3 of a horsepower can give me an extra 1 or 2 miles an hour, then I might have the first bike that can do 60. So we're going to see, is it likely? Am I going to get to the speed that I want to? Let's find out, shall we? That was very average, actually quite disappointing. Now the strange thing is with this bike is it feels quite nippy, and taking off then in first gear it just didn't get very far before it got to the limit, and I had to change gear, and it felt like that through all the gears. And then when I got to 5th gear, it kind of stopped at 8,000 revs and just didn't want to go any further. Took a little bit longer and a little bit of a downhill assist to get me to 60 mile an hour. So it did get to 60 mile an hour. It just took a little bit of time, and quite a lot longer than I expected it was going to be. Very average, I'm going to say. Very average indeed. I know I like to do a performance test, and with this one in particular, I wanted to do a performance test because I wanted to see what a 15 horsepower bike can do. Well, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't awful. I've had worse. But for a bike that claims to be right on the limit, it was some way behind. Like 6 mile an hour behind the Vosges, and it just seemed to be quite a struggle to get to 60 mile an hour. seemed to be quite painful. I had to tuck in and everything. Now, again, when you're buying a motorcycle of this type, the fact that it can get to 60 mile an hour is always a good thing anyway, and this gets to 60 mile an hour, so you can't really complain too much about it because it gets to those speeds, but it just doesn't get there as fast as the better performing bikes. So the Vosges and the Yamaha MT are still topping the charts for me as far as that goes, but it's still a nice bike to ride. I can't complain too much because I like the way it rides. It's a lovely bike to ride, it's comfortable. The performance is okay. I would say it's average to what not bad performing 125. I wouldn't have it as being anywhere near the better performers. These Vosges R125s, I know I keep harping on about them, but you can buy a brand new one of those for a couple of £100 less than a 3-year-old Husqvarna Svartpilen. I know there's gonna be people out there that this bike just suits you, and if it does, yeah, that's brilliant, because it's not a bad bike. This, you've got to look at the other bikes around it and ask yourself the question, would you pick this over one of those? So I'm going to ask the question, would you rather have this or a new? In fact, there's a shining example literally right in front of me. So in front of me there, we've got a Benelli BN 125. It looks absolutely glorious. It's brand new, less than £3,000. This is £3,099. Them or one of these. But then I would say the BN is actually probably better performing than this, and arguably looks wise, that's a great looking bike as well. In fact, I'm going to show you a close-up of it just as a bit of a comparison. Just been delivered to Into Moto, so it's still got the stickers on, it's not been prepped or anything yet, but the Vosges R125 is something like £2,800, so it's a bit less than that. Now I know you'd have the on-the-road costs and blah blah blah, but they're very similar in price is what I'm getting at. That would cost maybe £3,000 with the on-the-road stuff, and that's £3,099. So brand new or used? Question. That's the thing you've got to weigh up. Do you go there? Do you go there? Or do you go there? Again, price-wise, they're all very similar. So let me know in the comments what you'd pick. I am going to head off into Moto and stop them all from working again by chatting to them. But look at that, being modelled by my beautiful assistant over here. But that's going to do me for today. So it is a good bike, but there's a lot of bikes at a similar price range, and it just boils down to, what do you like, what do you want? I like a brand new bike, warranty, all that stuff. Or 3-year-old bike, you'll get a little bit of a warranty, I'm sure, but not the longer warranty that you get on the new one. So yeah, decisions, but it's not mine, it's yours. I can't believe I finished a Svartpilen review by saying I would buy a Vosges or a Benelli. Some days, you know, I can't even second guess myself. How the hell have I come to that conclusion? I think I've just come here and just seen one in front of me and it's made my mind go. Well, anyway, that's going to do me. I will catch you guys on the next one. Laters.